This is Smithy.tv.
Welcome to Vintage Podcast, folks. I'm the Lindsay Lewis.
Kevin Harron.
You didn't look happy. You looked upset there. Are you okay?
Yeah. You know what? I'm still reeling. We are on the heels of the greatest discussion I think we've ever had. And anyone who's listening to this following our Virgil Palooza.
Yeah. If you haven't watched it yet or listened to it.
Oh, man. So, that being said, this episode is going to be relatively Virgil-free. I'm fairly certain he's going to come up a couple times. But
spoiler, he is.
But we decided afterwards because, okay, I'm going to be reals. This is kind of what happened. We originally wanted to just kind of open the other show with like 10 minutes of Virgil.
Just talk about his $1 million GoFundMe campaign that has $165 the last time we had checked when we did that episode.
Yeah, and that just kind of
we thought I might get a funny 10 minutes and just talk about it.
That just took a tailspin into 55 minutes of just talking.
And I'm not upset about it either.
No, we could have gone for another 55, and I
could have gone on for another like 24 hours or like 23 hours. Get the full 24.
You know, we're gonna keep.
We're already doing it again.
No, I'm just saying we're gonna keep this campaign going. So feel free to
tweet us.
To tweet us
at Vintage Podcast.
Yeah, at Vintage Podcast or at Kevin Harron or at the Lindsay Lewis.
Thank you.
And
they're down here too.
Virgil, yes, for us getting potentially Virgil, or at least trying to get Virgil onto our podcast. We're going to start an Indiegogo, Kickstarter.
It's going to be GoFundMe. We're doing GoFundMe.
We're going to go the Angel Fire route. So, yeah, and then Virgil, no, if you just want us to just stop talking about Virgil, which I can't imagine anyone is going to say Virgil, no.
Yeah. I mean, except for Virgil if he hears
about the Virgil. The real Virgil on Twitter.
Okay, we're doing it, folks, so we have to... So if you haven't got a chance yet, we would love for you to listen to... we have a bunch of shows... on iTunes and YouTube to watch and listen to. We'd love for you to check any of them out, but if you can only listen or watch one of them, I think it's got to be Virgil Palooza.
Yeah, Virgil Palooza.
It's the $1 million podcast.
It is the $1 million. Oh man, that's going to be like the tagline, the description of our podcast, the $1 million podcast.
And then we don't tag the page or our podcast. It's just that podcast. That actual episode. So guys,
it's
welcome.
It's going to be our biggest our
achievement.
Yeah, our most downloaded episode is going to be Virgil Palooza. I just know it.
I would be proud of that. So, the $1 million dream aside, welcome to Vintage Podcast. Thank you for listening and watching, guys. Let's get into some WWE again.
Yeah. Let's actually talk about the product.
Sorry, I had to say his name one more time.
Product. So I guess
let's talk July.
Where we last left off was
stuff happened.
Yeah, things happened.
Another pay-per-view happened.
Yeah, another pay-per-view and a half. Because the Tokyo one was kind of I guess last time we said that we saw it. And because we were recording, I'm pulling back the curtain a little bit. We recorded the day before it was airing.
Yeah.
So we were just oh yeah, we totally saw it.
Just we didn't talk about it until
So it aired, and
so anyone who didn't know, WWE does pay-per-views once in a while, and for a little short term, they did 3 pay-per-views in a row.
Yeah. And
then they decided on July 4th, Independence Day, they had a show in Tokyo, and they thought, what a cool little project for their own WWE network to air a show called The Beast in Tokyo, a.k.a. Brock Lesnar was going to fight New Day's own Kofi Kingston.
Because really, what better way to celebrate America's independence by having a show in Tokyo?
Yeah, at 5 a.m. I think it aired on.
Yeah, Eastern time or whatever. So all in all, I really solid show.
I have to say, I always shows like that intrigue me, and I go you know what, I'll probably watch it. But when I watch it, I go no, this is actually there was some thought and put into it, and it was actually better than some of the other pay-per-views or the Raws. It was 100% better. But it made you go maybe I should get the network.
Yeah.
That actually was a thought in my head.
And I mean, one of the biggest highlights for me, because I'm admittedly like a huge Jericho fan, and it was really good to see him in fine form. Like he had a match against.
Yeah, the opening match, and in fact, when the
match.
show started after the promos and all that, the first thing you hear is "Break the wall down."
Yeah,
and then he's
and like it was such a solid match, and like just
he faced Neville, right?
Neville, yeah.
The man that storyline forgot.
Yeah, but I mean, like, because they both had, I think Neville had success in Japan, and
Well,
obviously Jericho kind of had his start in Japan and Mexico before coming into WCW.
Getting choked up.
Yeah.
Should we talk about Virgil for a
A
second?
little bit, yeah. No, my mouth is just really dry from talking about Virgil for about an hour.
Hashtag yes. Sorry.
Yeah, Virgil, yes. So yeah, no, it was a great match, and I'm really happy to see that he can still go at that pace and just put on a really solid.
And I think
match.
I was worried that, like, I like both guys, but I was worried that they were going to pick the wrong winner. And I just think it was the right thing, especially for as a special attraction kind of match.
Yeah.
It was a great way to open the show because they really they had an NXT Championship match listed and Brock Lesnar. They didn't even say who, even though like if you're a fan, you knew it was going to be Kofi Kingston.
Yeah.
So you knew those two matches were going to happen. I'm sure John Cena was going to appear. We thought. But then you had this really solid opening match, and like the fans were in it, and it wasn't just like a 5-minute match. It was like probably a good like 12-15-minute match, and there was a really good back and forth. Spoiler, if you don't want to hear, mute the thing right now. Y2J won the match. It was a really good back and forth couple of minutes. He sort of played up heel and face in it.
Yeah.
And the crowd was like for Jericho at the same time. He got them against him a bit. It was a really solid opening match.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I don't actually have like a match card here, and it's been like a little while since I've watched it. But
The Divas had a triple threat match, and
yeah.
Nikki retained.
Yeah.
It was an okay match, nothing special.
Yeah. Okay.
To me, it was a tough like girl, but like they made her seem like nothing. She got pinned, so we'll see. And again, like we won't talk about today, but the Divas direction is changing. It looks like they're really trying some stuff. We won't talk about today, but the next time we will touch base on that on our road to SummerSlam.
Well, we're gonna probably
Summerfest.
have to like just mention a little bit like what happened with because we're gonna talk about Battleground a little bit.
Spoiler, I wasn't. Yeah, we weren't there yet. But
We'll get there.
we're getting to Battleground. He's right.
All right, fine. You got me.
You Virgiled me.
You Virgiled me. Yeah.
That sounds terrible. Sounds terrible.
It really does.
Yeah, so the Divas had a match, and so we'll get to them. So they had a match. It was okay. I feel like I'm forgetting. I think there was a tag team match. Was there? Are we making this up? The main event was a tag match between John Cena, Dolph Ziggler versus Barrett and Big Show.
I think it was Big Show.
The match match was okay, but I don't remember it much. But to be fair, there was really
There's 3 matches.
there's 3 match kind of card.
So I mean, like, let's just things happen. Matches were there. That don't really matter. Like the
But none of them were bad, and like any card that you have a good 2-hour card that has a good opening match, a good middle match, and a good closer or very close or championship match.
Yeah, so I mean the Jericho Neville match is great. Next up that I think was on was the Brock Lesnar and Kofi Kingston.
The much hyped match.
Much hyped.
The Beast in Tokyo, the show was actually called.
Yeah. So I mean, as far as I can tell, Brock just wanted to go to Japan.
And he was going to visit a wrestler he knew there, and so he's going to take a trip. And I think his friend said, well, because you have this contract where it's very limited days, why don't you just do a show and have him pay for your trip? He doesn't hate this company that much, of course. Why not do it? It's a genius plan. It was good for business for both guys.
Oh yeah, and as you can probably imagine, ththings didn't really go well for Kofi.
I had hope that he could power positivity against the Beast. Because maybe he's thinking too much about facing Seth Rollins at Battleground, that him and New Day would destroy the Beast.
Yeah.
New Day should have first off, I don't know if I've said this enough, they should have won the Money in the Bank briefcase. It was the only right out of all the contenders in that match. That was the only thing that, but since Sting lost at WrestleMania, I get that they're not using logical.
There's no right in the world.
Yeah, there's no right in the world.
Virgil still is not a millionaire.
Yeah. We're still doing it. So Brock faced Kofi. It was sort of, I guess, a squash, but Kofi got a move or two in there, and he didn't look terrible.
Yeah, I mean, he got his little bit of offense in there, but then Brock just basically murdered him.
Just like the WWE's trying to murder their momentum of the New Day, actually.
Yeah, and I mean, that was kind of to be expected. I mean, nobody thought Kofi was going to come out looking like anything strong. So I mean, like you got what you expected there. You know, Kofi got murdered by Brock. It was a good show. It was good to see him in like getting that kind of response.
Yeah.
From like a different crowd, you know.
But just like it's also good for the Tokyo crowd, like going like when they first announced, it probably wasn't a Brock Lesnar show, and then they got this really cool event that's like, and there's matches before, so it's a really cool thing, and it was finally like, hey, North America, you can finally watch on our time, and what it's like to watch at 6 a.m. or like you know, so they got this cool show. They got they got Brock Lesnar there, and they're about to have a pay-per-view. It was exciting.
Yeah.
And then so there's some good matches, but I think the match that stood out besides Jericho and Neville, the other match would be, and I'm not a big NXT guy, but I now know both these guys.
Yeah. Finn Balor and Kevin Owens.
We're going to face for the NXT Championship only a week or so before John Cena was going to face Kevin Owens in their rubber match for the U.S. Championship, which we will get to in a few minutes. Battleground review.
Yeah, it was a really solid match. Good back and forth.
First off, I will say Finn Balor's entrance and theme song is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I would get rid of a little bit off the tail end at the top. It's a little too long of a heartbeat because some crowds, you can't do that on Raw all the time.
Yeah.
But it's just such a... That crowd thing is so cool, and just he gets them in just like the war paint, and he's got a good look with or without the war paint and the wrestling style.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean he's got that connection as well with those Japanese fans, because he spent was it like 9 years or something like that in New Japan.
He was like Prince DeWitt or something like that.
Prince Devitt, yeah.
I tried to sound cool there.
Yeah, it was really a good back and forth. I mean, they both looked really strong. They both had like a lot of great spots, and I mean, it really looked like it could have gone either way.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think
knowing because before the result of knowing Battleground is gonna be Cena versus Owens, like U.S. champ versus NXT champion. You know, there was a lot that I guess maybe you didn't think they would do something.
Yeah. And I think it had a lot to do, like, the result. Let's just get it out of the way. Finn Balor actually was able to pin and win the NXT.
And probably like almost like a 30-minute segment.
Yeah,
like it was.
He pinned Kevin Owens clean.
And that was the other surprise. Like there was no like he was distracted by Cena or like he got distracted by fans or something.
Yeah, so he got a clean win, which I think was really smart to do in Japan. Like, cause, you know, he's like their champion, and you know it was like a really great moment for that to happen there, and it was also a really good opportunity to dump the NXT title off of somebody who's going to be on the main roster.
Because then they storyline wise, they just say Kevin Owens was so focused on Cena that he lost focus.
Yeah.
You know? But it was a really entertaining match. It made you, like me, a guy who doesn't watch NXT, go like, okay, I'll keep checking out these guys. It definitely match on the card.
Yeah.
It was entertaining, and both guys looked great, even in the loss. Mm-hmm. And Finn Balor looked like an incredible superstar. Yeah. It just made that show go like, it's one of those, I have the file of the show that I'll rewatch that match at some point.
Yeah.
That's how pretty solid it was. It definitely, like, again, I still think, I have a joke on the last show where I said Virgil versus himself and the internet is the match of the year, but my favorite match of the year is still Rollins versus Cena versus Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. But this is a really good pay-per-view match. But all around a pretty good card in Tokyo, you know. And do you have the network? I don't think you do, right?
I don't know.
But stuff like this is getting closer to making you want to get it, right?
Yeah, it is. You know, there are many reasons why I would get the network, but it's just.
He's getting married soon. He's got to put all the money to that. We don't want to go too long in the tooth and turn this into another Virgil on the Tokyo show. So now we're going to move on to the other big event recently in July, pay-per-view wise, or WWE Network. Mm-hmm. They had an event called Battleground.
Battleground, yeah.
I think this is the former Payback or Great American Bash. I don't know what.
Cyber
July.
Tuesday.
Bash at the Beach. Bring it on.
All right. So, was there a pre-show? I didn't see it.
So I actually went. I didn't see it live, so I didn't actually get to see it. But I heard the results. I didn't actually get a chance to watch the pre-show. But the King versus the King. King What's Up versus King Bad News Barrett. And Barrett, as we probably all would have predicted, I hope, won the match. Pre-show happened. Everyone was happy. We got to Battleground finally, and it opened with a feud that I think everyone's in love with, and so happy that it came back. Randy Orton versus Mr. Money in the Bank, Sheamus.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's no Conor McGregor, if you know who that is. Conor, because I was telling Kevin off I really truly believe that Sheamus, like I predicted him winning the briefcase, and I've recently started to watch more like UFC and stuff like that. And Conor McGregor's actually apparently like surpassed Ronda Rousey and a bunch of other people as like their biggest draw now. And I think maybe WWE's thought is we can try to do that with him with the briefcase. What's going to happen is he's probably going to cash in at SummerSlam or something soon like that, win the title, and they're going to see ratings dive where they're going to have to put him in tag matches, and the title's going to eventually go back to maybe Rollins or like Dean Ambrose or something like that. But I do hope he cashes unsuccessfully. I will be wrong, obviously. But yeah, so anyways.
Unless he's trying to cash in for the $1 million belt.
I hope he does. That would be great. I would fund that for $4. But no, anyways, the opening match, do you think it was okay? There wasn't really anything at stake. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, nothing at stake.
Because remember back in the day when Edge won the first briefcase, or like against Benoit, we don't like to talk about him too much. Yeah, WWE doesn't like to remember him. They fought at like the pay-per-view after the WrestleMania for the briefcase. At least there's not stakes. Like pretty much Edge is probably gonna win, but at the same time. This feud, there's just nothing to the feud other than Randy Orton, I guess, was upset that Sheamus wanted to get his title shot. Yeah. And now he's got a briefcase, so just like, it was a match, it wasn't a terrible match, but I didn't care enough. It was one of those, like, honestly, like, I was kind of, like, not dozing off, but it's kind of like zoning out of it.
Something like you can, I don't know, make, like, nachos or something while that match is on and you don't feel bad.
So it's kind of like an audio match where you're kind of like, you're watching, but you're more listening while you're doing other stuff, waiting for like the more important matches to happen. It was an okay match. Randy Orton won, which could mean maybe he's the number one contender when Sheamus cashes in successfully, most likely, to bad ratings. So I think the next match was, this one's heartbreaking because I think it was actually the tag team title rematch for New Day. Wearing my blue right now to support them. New Day faced primetime players with a healthy Kofi Kingston, who wasn't in a Money in the Bank match. Yeah. And they were on fire. And did they win the title?
They did not.
Is Sheamus still Money in the Bank owner?
That's right.
This is tough times for WWE.
This is real tough times. But we did. I mean, what was next on that card? Was it the Divas?
I think Divas. Well, so originally there was a Ryback versus Big Show versus the Miz match,
but then he got a staph infection.
He got a staph infection, which he spelled wrong on Twitter, and he made fun of himself. Well, that's good. I'm glad they do that because we all make mistakes. Yeah. But so that match didn't happen. So one of the matches that was added to the card, which might have been there, but they didn't get as much time as they probably would have. It was actually, I think it was a triple threat for all the new divas, and we'll talk about this more on the road to SummerSlam and all that. But
so basically, there's three new divas that were brought in by Stephanie to kind of shake things up. So 3 NXT, you got Charlotte, Ric Flair's daughter. You got Sasha Banks, and you have Becky Lynch, who came out wearing like weird steampunk goggles and
then a gear, like glittered gear. It didn't make sense. It didn't match well. But she's more entertaining. I don't know her that well than Sheamus.
Yeah.
So that's your ginger that we root for, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Give her the
ginger we deserve.
Yeah, give her the Money in the Bank briefcase at this point.
Pretty much. But I mean, it was a good, solid match, and it was really just highlighting the I guess the new factions in the diva world, because now you got like there's the heel divas, there's like the face divas, and then there's like
that in between.
The in between, yeah. So like
really, it's just Sasha Banks with two people that are kind of meandering as villains or good guys, or mostly villains. Yeah, they're just not with Nikki.
Yeah, pretty much. And then you got like the Paige, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch.
But to not get off track, they had a really solid. So it ended up being Ric Flair's daughter, Charlotte, versus Sasha Banks versus Nikki Bella. Or is it? Yeah, it was Nikki, right? Yeah.
Brie.
Okay. No, it was.
It was Brie.
Oh, it was Brie. Yeah. They pretended it was gonna be Nikki, and then, but it was all around a solid match. It showcases, and the crowd got behind them, and because the recent angle was just fresh from that week, so it's nice to see it's holding up. I think I definitely thought it was either gonna be Charlotte or Sasha Banks who was gonna win. I probably would have had Sasha win, but I think maybe they're saving her for something bigger for SummerSlam. So then it's sort of a surprise. But all around a really solid opening thing, and
Charlotte took the win.
She took the win, and I think it was for me that was my first real I've seen a couple of the Divas matches in NXT, but this was a good showcase where they actually that was the first time I go okay, I'm behind this. I said the same thing about Lucha Dragons and all that. If you give them the storylines, it'll be great. If not, you're gonna get kind of that Lucha Dragons and Neville thing. So I hope they do the right thing. Nikki, I'm not saying she did a good or bad job, but I do think it's time to get the title off her because I think you have to really shake it up and start kind of from scratch.
Yeah.
But I think there's signs of a good stuff to come.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see where the whole women's division goes. I think there's a lot of room for improvement, and the more talented people that get in that roster, it can only benefit them.
With that, and also you have to add storylines and matter to the title and all that, and give important TV time. That's the other thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just a throwaway here. We have 8-minute segment.
And I think that's kind of the idea and the motivation from Stephanie McMahon at this point to kind of give a boost to the credibility of that. But that's something we can talk about another time. Because
another day, another dollar.
Yeah,
and if you have $1, please donate it to the GoFundMe thing of Virgil. So moving on, I feel like I'm forgetting a match because I know we're going to talk about the others. There's 2 other big matches on there. So Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt. The crowd really got it. The St. Louis crowd was usually they're pretty decent with it. Because they even cheered for that. Orton's a hometown guy, but they even cheered for that match. So they're ready for a good show. So that does help. But that match was okay. It was just it took so long to get going that at a certain point I'd go cool. It was an okay second half, but it wasn't enough. The first half was so slow and dull, and the storyline was just kind of not working for me right now. Yeah,
and they added a new element to it by bringing back one of the original Wyatt family members.
But it hasn't been that long ago since they were kind of together, so it wasn't that big of a moment.
No, but I think what's happening is they're realizing that alone Bray Wyatt is just going to kind of flounder.
Yeah, and he has sort of
he
feuded with Dean and Ryback.
And that's it. But with if he's got the family behind him, he can at least go into the tag team division and dominate there. And he could still do his basically what he did when they first came in, and kind of grow his Wyatt family. And I think there's a lot more potential for his character that way because it seems more interesting to me anyway personally, him being a sort of sadistic cult leader rather than just sort of a weird dude with a hat.
It kind of was it's the John Cena storyline where he's not you. It was I want to prove you a lie, but then there wasn't really any more other than we'll just have him say some cool stuff and to feud with a good guy kind of thing. So the match was okay. The crowd got behind it by the end. I definitely wouldn't say match of the night at all even.
No.
But it was okay. It's Roman's taking good strides, and I think these are the right things to do. Where it's don't put him in the main events yet, and he lost too, so that helps. And also, which potentially we've been hearing rumors, and maybe you guys have too, of he's going to have a pretty decent big tag team match at SummerSlam. So I think these are the right things. Don't put him in the main events yet. The match was okay. It wasn't terrible. I don't think I'd ever watch it again. That's one of the important things for me is. Was it exciting? Would I talk about it again? Do I want to talk about it? Would I watch it again? I don't think I would.
Yeah.
Which leads us to a match which was in a series. It's the rubber match, which is one of the most, I think will be one of the most watched series of matches from 2015.
Amazing match.
It is the rubber match for the United States Championship. Actually, is John Cena the champ versus the former NXT champion. Kevin Owens.
It was a great match. Technically speaking, I don't think they could have done more into the actual layout of the match. I didn't understand the finish.
Now, by finish, you mean just Cena winning?
Cena winning.
I think
that's half of it, but the other half is by tap out.
The tap out part, I agree with you. I think Cena's gonna be champ for a while for this because I don't think he's gonna be a world champ in a while, and so this is the greatest way to put when Seth Rollins or guys who are like the Sheamuses who have the title.
Yeah.
If they flounder his ratings, they know they got another big title thing with him. I don't think he's gonna lose the title for another few months. And Kevin Owens it just became another Bray Wyatt and Rusev thing. The tap out, I agree with Leo. I think it should have just been a pin. The tap out, because at least he says I've never submitted, but now he's been pinned. He's submitted. He's lost his NXT championship. It's been a bad month for July for Kevin Owens. What they do next to him is very important because they had so much momentum. Mm-hmm. I'm curious what they do with him, but technically speaking, really solid match, and it's a good three match, kind of like the three that they had. Do you think it was the best of the three?
You know what? I think just in terms of like the match itself as a whole, like looking at all three together, probably. But I think if you look at them individually, like the reaction you get, like the first one, I think probably had the most reaction emotionally from me, based on the fact that it was like the first time they were meeting, and then like it was like that surprise pin victory where he
it wasn't like it was
beat John Cena clean, and then but like
I actually thought like I thought they were all really good matches. I actually thought the second one was probably the best because there was still that everyone's like, oh, Cena will probably get the win, but there's also that, but maybe they're gonna do the opposite. And even though Cena won, the match was even longer and better, I thought.
Yeah,
but like all these are like all like going like, if you were to get money, which like it was something positive. There was like I was about to ask a question that didn't make sense, but no, with that money.
Give to Virgil?
Just give money to Virgil. Anytime I say money, you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
No, but all around a solid thing, whether you agree with the tap out or not.
Yeah.
You got a solid match. What they do going forward with Kevin Owens is very important for his momentum. They have him in some good matches, but if they keep him away from storylines, that could be trouble. Or like just have him go away and then attack people. I don't know, but maybe the right or wrong guy didn't win, but the right two guys put on a really good series of matches, and I as a fan would say thank you. Yeah.
It was a great match, and hats off to both those guys. And even though the tap out generally does, take a lot of steam away from like whoever is in the losing end of that. And makes him generally look fairly weak, especially against Cena. I found when Cena makes somebody
because he doesn't really lock that.
Yeah,
so
and like it just, I think like Cena has that kiss of death thing. I think with a lot of people, but I think with this Kevin Owens situation, like it didn't make him look extremely weak, which is a lot like that happened with Bray Wyatt. It happened
Rusev.
with Rusev. Where like they went.
It takes their time back to get a little to get their legs back again.
Yeah, it came as like an unbeatable wrecking ball, and then all of a sudden it's just like, Cena just whatever.
To be fair, he has a new movie to promote. He's in Trainwreck. He's in it for a bit. He actually has some funny scenes. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a pretty funny little summer comedy. But Cena has to promote that movie as the U.S. champ. So I get why they kept the title on him.
Right.
I think I probably would have picked that decision, strangely enough. But at the same way, I would have had a pin after he doing like 3 AAs and then off the top rope maybe, but not like that. I think the tap out and like. Even if it was just like a half-assed tap out. So like in a way, if you're gonna tap out, I think you'd rather do it that way than a blatant like I'm tapping out. But yeah, the tap out was wrong, I think. But we got good matches, and they'll probably at some point in a year from now do another feud. Really good match.
There's just one more match, isn't there?
There's one more match, and it was pretty well hyped up. It was going to be since WrestleMania. Seth Rollins weaseled his way and won the title against Brock Lesnar, who he didn't pin. He didn't submit. He actually pinned another guy and he became champion. And then Lesnar was actually storyline written out where he
was suspended.
He's suspended, and then they just said, just give Michael Cole a handshake, and I think it was okay.
Yeah, he gave him a noogie.
He gave him a noogie, and it's just like, this is awkward. And then he started doing that Randy Orton thing where they're like, do we make him a good guy, bad guy? And then they kind of do that, stop it, you're going to lose the fans here. Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship is up as the main event.
Yeah.
Don't spoil it yet, but what did you think of the match before the outcome of the ending?
I think Seth he looked great in it. Like, he just, his selling and like the they showed a little bit of old Seth Rollins, like Shield Seth Rollins, which I thought was really good. Like, because they don't highlight how athletic that guy is anymore.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like he's pretty all around good on the mic. He does
Yeah.
make mistakes, but his wrestling ability with
Yeah.
that as a package together is
Yeah.
something special.
Like if you watch like the
He's
the
like
match-
Edge if he had more agility, you know.
If you watch the match between the Shield and Evolution, like one of them, I don't know, they had a couple, but generally those were like he was like just flying all over the place.
Yeah,
And
I think it was
like-
their second series, or I
Yeah.
don't know if it was the elimination match, but he really went for it.
Yeah, and it was like you saw a little bit of that again, which I really appreciated, and it was kind of neat to see that it was actually like a good offense to Brock as well. Like it looked like he had a couple good hits in, and like it didn't last long.
He didn't look pathetic, and that was my thing. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna say this, and I'm not gonna spoil it yet. Like if for some reason you haven't caught up, you should probably stop listening because there's an interesting ending to this match. But that night I didn't watch it
Say,
live.
oh yes.
Hashtag yes. Virgil, come on our show. So I didn't see the show live. I don't know if you did, but I was actually going golfing for the first time, and we got a little crazy there. Might have driven my friend off the golf cart. His ankle is actually injured right now. To be fair, though, he should have held on. But no, anyways, so I got home, and I don't know if you're on Facebook, but they actually do these little news things.
Yeah.
They do it like the news feeds. They do it on Twitter, but now it's like it's usually stuff that is either really popular or stuff they know you like. And for some reason, they decide to put WWE Battleground, and they basically they spoil the result by saying how the match ended and for what reason. And so this is right when I'm about to watch it. So even though I read that, it still knew I was going to get a kind of cool moment, maybe.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how you saw this event, how it ended, how you felt as seeing it live and not being spoiled. How did you feel? I guess if you want to say what happened.
I had no idea it was going to happen. I sort of.
Should we just say kind of what happened? Just
Well,
so
I'll get to
Okay.
that. Yeah, it's just I had no idea that they were gonna have this finish. Like it was I avoided dirt sheets all day, just kind of to go into it fresh. But what had happened was after taking Seth Rollins to Suplex City, after I think I stopped counting around 16 or 17.
I think they only did 13 actually.
Really?
Because
I thought it was more.
the reason it was less is because I think he did 15 or 16 for Cena, and
Yeah.
that was some sort of record. And I don't think they wanted to beat it because I know they didn't. So
Yeah.
he did 13, and then he did the F5,
Right.
and he got a 1, 2.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden the lights go out, and then you hear the Undertaker's.
Dong or that sounded bad. That was
Yeah, I was trying to avoid that. You hear the gong of the Undertaker's music, and lights go out, comes back on, and there's Old Man Taker,
that,
just
Aw.
like looking really angry and ready for revenge after
And a nap,
year
and a good nap.
A year and a half. Because I'm not willing to believe that he was there for Kane, because that doesn't make any sense.
yeah, because Kane's been hurt a lot
Kane's
over
been
the last.
hurt a lot, and they haven't really been on the best of terms, except for when
And
Paul
Kane was a
Bearer-
villain.
Yeah, when Paul Bearer died, like they came together for a little bit, and they had like a Brothers of Destruction run back in like 2008.
And also, Brock was in the building at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
so was he.
He was there at WrestleMania. So I mean,
Why didn't he
Yeah.
cost him the championship? He won the match.
yeah. So yeah, it made no sense to me, and
Also,
I was,
Rollins disappeared too. That
yeah,
was the thing.
Yeah, he. I had no idea this was going to take place. Is my point, and I was completely underwhelmed, and it wasn't special to me, and like it made no sense.
I think they
and-
wanted it to feel special.
Yeah,
And when I watched it, I thought, even though I knew it was going to happen and you didn't,
yeah.
I still expected that, and I felt exactly what you felt. I
Yeah.
saw this old man getting revenge a year and a half later.
Yeah, and it didn't make any sense. And like maybe it's because like I don't know, half of the Undertaker's thing is his entrance, and when he just kind of appears in the ring and he's wearing like sort of like biker Undertaker gear, but
That
he's
in
sort
between stage, yeah.
yeah, he's just it's not really a thing that really it doesn't make for great WWE television, I don't think. So what I'm going to take from that is because we mentioned that Seth Rollins disappeared, I didn't hear a bell ring.
Mm-hmm.
The match is still going on.
I think he pulled the Curtis Axel.
I think so.
Curtis Axel's still in the Rumble, by the way.
Yeah, I think any chance that Brock Lesnar gets to pin Seth Rollins, he should just do it and end the match.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
It's I don't know. It was interesting because underwhelming is exactly what I felt, and if they're gonna do that, and I get that Brock only does a couple matches a year, and they're leading towards this big SummerSlam match, but at least go I don't know if they ran out of time. I don't know what time the pay-per-view actually ended, but I thought they should at least give him the match a little bit more time to at least give Seth some stuff and Brock a good match, because if you're gonna cheat the fans out, and I get to go but it's the Undertaker, so they won't feel cheated.
Yeah.
At the same time, the main event should at least be solid match before you do that.
Yeah.
And the match was good, but it was kind of ruined. And for a surprise that it was probably live, pretty cool, but was it that special? I don't think so.
It just really goes to show that when WWE creative paints himself in the corner, they can't just throw an Attitude Era superstar in the mix just to make
unless it's
people
Kurt
happy.
Angle. That's the only return I would love to see.
But they tried it with The Rock and Roman Reigns. When he's trying to put over Roman Reigns, and that just fell
that
flat.
backfired. Right?
And this, I feel, fell flat as well. It didn't seem like the crowd was too into it. It seemed like people were happy to see him, but I think a lot of people were just kind of felt the same thing, where it's
this match is over, yeah.
And it's getting increasingly sadder to see the Undertaker.
I will say, jokes aside, and look, we all age, and it's gonna happen to everyone, but it was just weird because also he always shaved his head the last few years, and it was just the second you see him, the lights pop out, he does this, and you're like, oh shit, lights turn on, he's older now. It just but a lot noticeably, and it made me go I don't want you to fight anymore because I know he's injured the last few years over his matches. I was like, stop, please.
Yeah. Well, it's like seeing a bald Sting. It's one of those things. You're just kind of
That's when I knew that match is it wasn't gonna be the same as this isn't Sting.
It's wish I hadn't seen that. And it's a sad thing. But I mean, all around, I think it was an entertaining pay-per-view.
You did say bald for a second, right? And I just want to. Do you know who else is bald? That's right. The man with $1 million dream, who you can go to GoFundMe and give him $1 million. Virgil, continue on, Kevin. I just had to. You give a segue, any segue, I'll take it.
Oh,
you may be schoolboy rapey, but I'm schoolboy rapey on the mic for Virgil.
Virgil,
we'll take your money.
Right
I'll take your money. I'll take anything.
But okay. So all around, solid. I'd say I give it a C plus.
I usually go by 10 ranking, and I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10, or and none of the matches or anything were even The Miz I thought was really good on the mic that night.
Yeah.
He got a good little segment. His match was canceled, but I thought all around every match was good.
Yeah.
But most of them there was no importance to, or with the Undertaker stuff or Kevin Owens tapping, little things they did, they just didn't do it the right way. I thought. So all around an okay show, but if you missed it and you feel like you missed a pay-per-view, you're I need to see it. It was okay, and you're not missing a lot. You could probably fast forward through a little bit of it.
See, my thing is, and I know I've mentioned this before in the podcast, is it's the pay-per-views now are feeling increasingly more like Raws, and Raws are feeling increasingly more like just recap shows or Superstars or something like that. So it's just
And I actually liked the Tokyo show. It was a 2-hour show that we didn't know for a few weeks, and that was better than Battleground, just because it was just kind of maybe it was because it's 2 hours and it was just nonstop wrestling with a very little storyline.
When they have less time to fill, they're having less unnecessary promos, and there's less just stupid banter and backstage segments and whatever. Because when if you have 2 hours and you only have 2 hours to do it, anything you do in terms of interviews or promos or anything like that, they're gonna mean something. And the matches, you have less time, so they have to be good matches, And I think that's when you really get the best out of the product, is when 1 hour for them and the I guess depth of their roster, they need a little bit of extra time than that. So 2 hours I think is perfect for them. 3 hours is a little bit much because they just start getting a little bit too.
You feel it in the shows.
Yeah.
Where you're like this. If this was a 2-hour show,
Yeah.
to be fair, WWE, I think it's a USA decision where it's like they need them USA. Like WWE needs USA, and I think USA at the time wanted like 3 hours, right?
Yeah, well,
And
because
so I know they would love to go back to 2 hours. Is what I've heard.
they
I
got
could be
great
wrong.
ratings for like 3-hour vintage Raws and stuff like that. So like I think they were just like, oh, we should just do 3 hours. Oh,
But the reason that works is because we're like, hey, a special vintage thing, but also
hey, Michael Cole's wearing a gold jacket.
yeah. Make him famous, son. But yeah, all around Battleground was an okay show.
Yep.
Will you watch it again? Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, no. Tokyo show, I will watch.
Yeah.
I will watch that again, and like I'll pick out individual matches probably, but like I'll watch it again. I thought it was great, and it was a really good exercise in the direction I think the WWE needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
And needs to continue going in because they're already kind of working on in a couple avenues to that sort of feel for the product. But then they still have a couple lingering old school mentalities that I think need to be adjusted.
Attitude adjusted.
Yeah, there you
John Cena.
go. You
Still
know who else
US
needs an
champ.
attitude adjustment?
The internet for not giving money to Virgil.
Exactly.
You know it. I knew you wanted me to say Virgil, but no.
So, if you liked our Virgil Palooza podcast, please feel free to give us a rating.
Hashtag yes. Hashtag, no.
Hashtag Virgil yes. It's Virgil yes. Just so we know that it has something to do. Because you just can't do hashtag yes.
Because you
then
could be a
this
Daniel
like,
Bryan fan going, I got his book. Hashtag
yeah, this
yes.
can be, oh, a Dana Bryan or like a progressive rock band, yes, or like just people who are just positive
Yeah.
about things. You
I
know?
try to be.
So
Power positivity, people
Yeah, there you
power. Yeah, so if you'd like to tweet us for that
Yeah.
campaign of Virgil,
yeah,
it's in your guys' hands. This is our Taboo Tuesday or our Cyber Tuesday or
Yeah.
whatever it's called.
Yeah, I will. I promise that I will be not nearly as lazy, and I will go ahead and I will actually do the GoFundMe campaign if we get enough Virgil yeses. So that being said, I think we're gonna wrap this piece up, and before we do, I just want to remind you our Twitter is @VintagePodcast. Usually every Raw. Sometimes we skip a Raw or two, but generally speaking, we're tweeting as it's on. Pay-per-views, we're tweeting back and forth. It's the two of us. We're taking turns.
Usually it's jokes,
making snarky comments.
but
about
occasionally if
things
it's a
that are
classic
happening.
match, we might be like,
Yeah.
"You silenced us." We've never said that.
Yeah, no, we've never.
We've
said
never
that.
tweeted that.
We've always said like, look at stupid Sheamus.
Look at Old Man Taker.
Yeah.
That was a favorite. But if you guys want, because you're speaking of Twitter and
Yeah.
Virgil stuff, @Vintage Podcast. I'm at the Lindsay Lewis.
Kevin Harron.
And obviously the road to SummerSlam is upon us and the Summerfest.
Summerfest.
So get your favorite
Summerfest,
Jeremy Piven movie, watch it, get ready for August. But we've just covered July of WWE. We hope you guys are having a nice summer.
Yep.
And if you're by the beach and you need to listen to anything, we'll go to the old iTunes and give us some subscribe.
The old iTunes, look up Vintage Podcast.
Okay.
Again, we mentioned it's on the Smithy TV network. So if you can't find it, just regularly searching for Vintage Podcast, you can find it through Smithy TV.
And their YouTube channel as well.
And,
So
yeah.
if you're hanging in with your air conditioned apartment or place, give us a little watch, listen.
Just in between cat videos, you can sneak us in. We are.
It's not really sneaking in. Our shows are usually 45 plus
Yeah,
minutes.
just sneak us in. Sneak in a quick.
45.
A quick little 55-minute discussion about
Virgil.
Superstar Virgil, the real Virgil, verified on Twitter.
And again, the biggest crime, besides Virgil not getting $1 million, although that's not really a crime, it's a crime that he thinks he actually can do it. I'll talk about him, folks. No, it's Sheamus still has Money in the Bank. New Day aren't tag team champions. All is wrong in WWE, and the main event of SummerSlam is two guys who are there for a couple matches a year. How are you guys feeling about it? Tweet at us. Let us know. I'm curious. That's my thoughts. What are yours? New Day rocks. Had to say it once in the episode.
Every time. You know who? Virgil rocks.
Schoolboy Rapey out. Thanks, guys, for watching and listening.